This is book review, Anastasia and the Screaming Cedars. I only read the first book, though, and it's 8 books, so just remember that, okay? I only read the first book, and this is like a month ago. Yeah, it's about this, like, Russian dude named Vladimir Zabra or something like that, and he's this, like, entrepreneur, and he, like, gets this big boat together to go way up into the northern parts of Siberia, in some lake, and or some river, and he even drew a map of it, exactly where it was, like if you ever want to go and try and find Anastasia. And he met these two guys, and they were like, claimed that one guy was like 139 years old, and the other guy was his father, and that they were like really old because they ate these cedar nuts. So I guess if you eat cedar nuts, it's like the super powerful thing that makes you live forever. And so then he's like, weird. So then he came back the next year, and he was remembering those guys, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to have to go there and collect cedar nuts to sell them to make money. So he goes out there, and he goes to where those people are, and there's this girl there, and she's like, hey, what's up? Yeah, those guys my grandfather and my great-grandfather. And I guess at the time where he met her, she was like 25 or something, because she's born in like 69, and this is back in like 94 or something like that. And she's like, yeah, I want to tell you, you should come and hang out with me, come over, and I'll tell you about the cedars or whatever. And she's like, well, okay. And so she leads him back to where she lives, and she lives like in a cave, I guess. It's like a hole in the dirt, and like she sleeps in like she has a sweater and a blouse, but that's only to put on when she goes into the cities and towns. But when she's out there in the woods, she's totally naked, and she's like really hot blonde girl. And there's even a photo of her, of the real her, in the book. And she's just like really hot, like Russian looking chick, blonde chick, and she has a pet like. Didn't she have like a pet like mountain lion? And she has a pet bear who she jumps on his shoulders, and he carries her up to the trees, to the lower trunks, so then she can climb up the trees. And like she was an orphan, or she had to be raised by her grandfather because her real parents were... What the fuck? God damn it, man. I forgot to time this again. 2:50. All right, boom. So yeah, because her real parents were killed because they climbed up the cedar tree, and they broke a branch on accident. And when you break the branch, like all the laser beams came out of the cedar, and they boiled the brains of her mother. Her mother broke the branch, and the father was below, and the father was above the mother, so the father couldn't escape the tree. So the whole tree, because she broke that one branch, all the laser beams came out of all the tree, because it was like a 400-year-old tree that had like energy pent up inside of it. So it boiled their brains, and they died. And so then she was left alone. So then she was raised by her grandfather and like her great grandfather, and so they're like these hippie people who live way out in the middle of nowhere, and they eat the cedar. They eat the cedar seeds so that they get to live forever, and they don't age. And this chick, I guess maybe because she's special. Well, she's a human being. She's not alien or anything, but she's human. But because she's special, she maybe because she eats the cedar seeds. She lives off cedar seeds. She has psychic powers, and she can remote view people in the real life, and then she can like get into their brains remotely and like make them change their decisions and stuff. And it's like she was helping this one girl because she was trying to get like, who was in the city, like Moscow or something. She was trying to get like the attention of some guy who liked her, but he was afraid to tell her that he liked her. So they like, so she was like getting in her head to like tell her to like wear a sexier outfit so that he would notice her. So she could like remote view that kind of stuff. And so she remote viewed this guy and knew that this was the reason why she wanted to hang out with this guy. And I guess she knew this guy from like Vladimir from like the year before, where all these chicks had a crush on him because he threw a party on the boat, and they got all like horny because he was like this rich dude. And so but he gave a tour to her, but he didn't like, he didn't like bring her back to the dance area, bar area or something, because he knew she was like some weird hippie chick. So then she left, and then she was like, "Ooh, I love you too," and they're all like, "I love you, Vladimir." So she's like, "I love you too." So then she decided that she wanted to have a baby with him. So then like the next night, the second night he was there, she fucked his brains out, and I guess it was like the most ecstatic experience of his entire life, even though he was married. And yeah, and after he wrote the book, I guess he broke up with his wife. I guess after he banged the hippie chick, he could never go back. Once you go hippie, you never go back or something like that. So he had to break up with his wife, and he didn't even do it face to face. He only did it through the telephone. But he's still in good terms with his daughter, who was like his business manager for the book and stuff. But he was like 44 at the time when he met her, so I guess he'd be like 60 now. But he yeah, he like so the book is basically about all the shit that he learned from this hippie chick. She's like, yeah, because like when she dances, she likes to dance and twirl around, and like this like mist is created around her body, and she's got like superpowers. Like when she dropped him off at the I have to end at 12 minutes. When she dropped him off at at his boat, he was speeding away on his speedboat at like top speed, so I guess 60 miles an hour. But then all of a sudden she starts running after him, and she passes the speedboat, so I guess she can run like 70, 80 miles an hour. And then she ran up a hill, up like almost vertical hill at just as fast as she was going. So she can run up vertical hills at like 70 miles an hour. And then she screamed to him really loud, like, "Watch out, there's a log under the water." So he turned it forward, and oh my God, there was a log. So he turned out and just in time and didn't hit it. So she has like psychic powers. She has really X-ray vision and can see when there's a log on field where somebody's about to get hurt, and she can run like 100 miles an hour straight up trees. And she's also like really strong. Like she pinned him to the ground. She was like playing with him, and she pinned him to the ground. Even though she's like a little girl, she pinned him to the ground, and he couldn't move at all. She has like superhuman powers. So then he bit her titty and made her bleed and like hurt her feelings, because he was freaked out that he couldn't move because there was some chick stronger than him holding him down. I guess she was, because she had all these like spiritual teachings, and I guess that's what the other books are about. But yeah, I guess she like these aliens landed next to her, and she helped them fix their spaceship, and their spaceship is created by their spaceships get around space because they have bacteria that grows inside of the spaceship, and the bacteria like grows. Man, I should have done this book review like a month ago when I fucking remembered what I wrote. The bacteria grows on the other side of the spaceship, on the inside of the spaceship, really fast, which then creates a void and makes the other bacteria want to grow there, and it makes the ship move forward. And then she said that humans are cooler than the aliens, though. Like aliens are only appear to be cooler because they have more technology. Because the aliens who landed with her, they tried to stun her with their stun gun, but she has such magical powers that she was impervious to it. But then she told them not to worry because she wasn't going to hurt them, and she was just going to help them fix their spaceship. So, but she says, yeah, there's like, she knows there's aliens all over. But she has lots of like interesting like spiritual stories that she tells that I like to hear about, and I agree with, like, and stuff that I hadn't ever considered, like I think they're called dakis. Dakias is a Russian word for farmer, and farmers are like the coolest people ever because they like live at one with the earth, and like and so she said good things to do, so that you can become more at one with the plants is to like before you plant the seed, like put the seed in your mouth and let the saliva from your mouth penetrate the seed a little bit so that you can put some of your DNA into the seed, and then you plant the seed. And then when the plant comes up, and and like walk around in the plants barefoot so that you can get your sweat wiped off onto the plant, and then so that the plant, when it grows and you eat it, the plant is genetically modified to suit what you need, all the nutrients that you need, because the plant knows you because you've been like spitting on it and like pissing on it and walking around on it. I know she said piss on it, but yeah, that was interesting, and she what else did she say? My God, yeah, there was all sorts of cool philosophical stuff that the hippie chick said. Yeah, well, she said she has everything she needs, even though she's butt naked and she lives in the trees and the bushes and stuff. Um, she has like a little lake nearby that she swims in, so she keeps herself fresh on that, and she can swim all the way to the bottom, like she's super fit. So I guess living like way out in the middle of the jungle like that and eating nothing but cedar leaves and being naked makes you superhuman. And she oh man, what are some of the spiritual teachings? Well, yeah, she's not really a technocrat. She's not really into like technology and stuff. She thinks like all you need is like you, and then you can have all the power you need and all the stuff you need. And it kind of reminded me of some other people who I've heard of, like, really old people, like 300-year-old people who live out in the middle of nowhere, like in the mountains. Like this guy came over to our house once. This guy Duncan Campbell, he has a radio show. He's he's a 60-year-old guy. He's like corporate lawyer, Harvard educated, but he went and tells this crazy story that he met this guy way up in the mountains the mountains of like India, who's like 300 years old. He could speak every single language in the world fluently because he just sucks all the information out of the air. So that's kind of like what she was talking about. And Bashar says there's a bunch of really old people out there too who just know stuff, and you just know. I don't know if he said you can know stuff, but I think, yeah, and I agree with that. There's people out there like that. Now, do I believe this dude Vladimir? Well, there's some stuff about what he said that doesn't make any sense to me, like, like breaking a cedar tree, a cedar branch is going to fry your brains. Like, we all know cedar branches, and I'm sure people break cedar branches all the time, and their brains aren't getting fried, so. And as far as, like, saying that there's this girl out there who can run 70 miles an hour, and who can pin a guy like that, and and can remote view and all that stuff, seems like a bit of a stretch. I bet what happened is he went out and he met some hippie chick who had all those, like, he was like a farmer, and had all of those like interesting things to say that he thought was cool, and he would embellish it to sell more books, because the guy comes from Russia. Russia's a third world country. Every third world country I've been to was just loaded with people who lie through their teeth. They just lie. So it kind of just gives me the idea that he's just doing the third world thing and just lying. But whatever, it's cool. It's an entertaining book. I like the stuff that the chick has to teach. If and like, you're not supposed to see her. It's like she doesn't want people to visit her, so obviously she does live in a house. Otherwise she'd be out there meditating in the grass somewhere, like, come and visit me, yeah. But I don't know, whatever. I'll read the more of the books before I come to a full conclusion, but that's just my idea. But I do like the stuff that she says, as far as, oh my God, I can't remember some of the other spiritual stuff that she said. Yeah, just, how it's possible to, well, she had a baby with him. She screwed him so that she could have a baby and get pregnant. And I guess she did have a baby, and it's his son. He gets to go out and see the baby and stuff. But yeah, the whole idea that they're proponenting is, living in the land, living with your plants, at one with your plants. I think it's possible to tame animals, be like a beast tamer, an animal tamer like that. If you're at one, if you're living in the forest like that, you become an animal. Animals are a lot smarter than we know. Animals are our friends, and they look up to us as like the protector of the environment. I think they do know that. They know a lot more than we know when we think that they know. And when you're living at one with the environment, like some like peaceful tribe, which, the Native Americans weren't peaceful when we got here, but we kind of exasperated that violence that they were perpetrating against each other. But there are, I think, lots of indigenous cultures in the world who have lived here in the past and who do live at one with nature and aren't afraid of animals and can live with the animals and, and even friends with the animals and can maybe even shapeshift and turn into an animal, so kind of sounds cool stuff that she has to say. So I'd like to read some more of the books. Yeah. But I think we can, do farming with buildings, with aeroponics. I think is the next way to go, even though you're not with the plant. It's still better. But anyways, I'm out of time.